Well, decided I'm going to do a little bit of a humidor tour. My humidor is not very big, as you can see. It is supposed to hold, I think they said 50 to 100 cigars. There's a little over 50 sort of normal size cigars in there right now. And there's a pack of Cohiba Club 20s, which are tiny little cigars. So that's more accurate to what really fits into this little humidor. It's by a company called Cigarroll. I paid too much for it. You can get them reasonably cheap. Well, not cheap, but 100, 200 bucks on Amazon. I paid more than that for mine, but I bought mine at a brick and mortar. I like to support brick and mortar. I got my coffee here because it is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and for me, that is about 14 hours since I woke up. I do a very early shift kind of job. All that background noise is just me going to my toolbox. I put the mug there because it gives you sort of an idea of what happens in terms of size. I'll just throw measuring tape on this. 10 inches by 9.5 by 9.5. So, not that big. But it holds the amount of cigars I need. I am not an everyday smoker. I smoke about 2 cigars a week and not much more than that. But I do enjoy cigars. Pretty relaxing. It's one of the best things to do for me. In this day and age, I live in a rented space, not an owned space, so I don't really have any private outdoor space to smoke in, so I kind of have to pick and choose my times and my spots to have a cigar, but I still make it work. And, with that, I smoke even less, but it's given me time to build the collection up. Now, this collection got topped up just today. How many new cigars did I put in there today? I don't know. I think 16 Robustos, 10 Minis, and that 20 pack of Club 20s, which are super tiny. You're going to hear me sipping that cup of coffee every now and then because it's been that kind of day, although I'm thinking that's a bad place for that coffee mug based on how the door of this humidor is going to open. So let's get that out of the way. Well, let's open it up. Right now the humidity in there is saying it's about 62%. That's because I've just loaded it up. I'm thinking I got to make an adjustment to the camera though because things look a little bit blown out. So let's do that. Maybe it's a little more accurate. So my bottom drawer. As you can see, I kept a couple of my Rocky Patel wrappers. I have a jar that I actually put my cigar wrappers in, and for like whenever I smoke a new one. It's in storage right now, but it's just a nice little reminder to have on your desk or wherever, at work or office, when you're stressing out to be like, well, I can go smoke a cigar later. So in here, this whole layer, with the exception of this little guy, which is this is called a pom-pom. This guy was, I don't know, I bought these for like $8 for the pack. They're like Colts. They kind of suck. So yeah, that goes there. And this is your basic Colt. If it'll focus, there we go. Colts, whiskey flavored Colts. So this whole layer here is quite literally all Arista cigars. These Robustos are a Picaduro wrapper. This is a Habano wrapper. And these bad boys here are the Maduro wrappers. I've never had the Picaduro wrapper before, so that'll be a fun thing to try in the future. As you can see, I use little Boveda packs. These little plastic humidor things, it's got its humidity beads in it. I can add the solution to it. It's okay, but the Boveda pack does a way better job. And then we're going to go to the next drawer. The next drawer is like where we start to get into some slightly more impressive stuff. There's my little box of Cohiba White. Yeah, that's gonna not look great on camera. It's gonna be blown right out. See if we can do something about that. We'll darken it up quite a bit to see what we can see. It's just a white box with your little Cohiba logo on it. It won't even autofocus at this point. Autofocus, you dirty bastard. But that's that. That's my little pack of Cohiba. They're called, mini white Cuban. I'll open it up a bit here. And you'll see. It's not a bad looking cigar, but they are tiny. Like very tiny. Right? It is a ring gauge of 20. I don't have big hands, and my hands look enormous smoking these. So it's a nice little flavor profile. I had one of those this morning just for a giggle. By this morning, I mean this afternoon. What else do we have in here? Well, let's see if we can just get a little better shot at the whole shebang. Oh, we'll tighten up the angle there a bit. Boom. Yeah, I'm kind of like messing with the camera settings as I go just because this is sort of how it is. It's a new camera. I haven't figured it out yet. So over here are what's called Pueblo. Pueblo is a house brand for the tobacconist I go to. It's a company called Village Cigar Company and Barber Shop. So they basically, work with the barber shop as well as sell cigars. And they have about 3 locations. I can order online from there. I prefer to go in person. And a trip to Village Cigar Company usually costs me an unreasonable amount of money. There we go. This guy right here is currently my new favorite cigar. The price is right, about $20 Canadian. It's a nice draw. It's a nice flavor profile. I smoked one in my car, and I had the window just cracked a bit because it's kind of wintry now. And the next day I got in the car and I could hardly smell the tobacco smell from this particular cigar. Now, I'm just going to try to put it back in its little cellophane. Although these aren't cellophane, they're actually made of a type of natural wax. So that's kind of good. As you can see, I got like 3 of them. Oh, I'm going to point this out to you. Okay, so this is this is a Canadian thing. Like I showed you, right? There's the nice label. But we have stupid bylaws. So this is the exact same cigar. And the one that had the nice label is old stock, so they haven't had to change the label yet. But this is a new one. They have to put this big brown thing on it so that they're not enticing young people to smoke tobacco products. I personally think that's a garbage-ass rule made up by stupid people for stupid reasons. Like the reality is, the kids that are smoking, like nowadays, actually, most of the young people that I know vape. So to make a stink about a cigar wrapper is just ridiculous. Anyways, back into business. So, also here we have Pueblo, which again is proprietary blend to the tobacconist I go to. Now this one is a little bit different story than the red one. This one used to be my favorite from this brand, but then I smoked the Barber Pole and it's just better. And the last time I had one of these guys, the green label bad boy, it filled up the smell of my car. My car still has a little bit of that tobacco smell lingering. We have another one from the same brand, the House Blend, proprietary. It's a nice torpedo. It's a fun looking cigar. Smells nice. Let's just see what I can do about getting everything back in here proper. I'm a bit of a stickler for organization, even in my humidor. I like it laid out a certain way. And as we get over to the side here, we got a few more budget brands, except for these bad boys. I don't typically smoke Cuban cigars, but these are one of the Cubans I tend to smoke. Francisca Delicias from Cuba. These are 12 or 13 bucks in Canada. We pay a lot of money for cigars around here. And here we have a Bravos Connecticut Super Corona. Look at this. That sucks. Unfortunately, we got a nasty crack in the wrapper. That sucks. I don't know when that happened, but fortunately, this is only like a $6 cigar. So cracked wrapper, it's all good. Again, my little more budget-friendly stuff. Reposado Estates Maduro wrapper. W&D Robusto. W&D is basically a Don Thomas Seconds. Then I have a Don Thomas Maduro wrapper. After all, Don Thomas is where my cigar smoking enthusiasm began. Here we have Factory Smokes. We're getting into one of my favorite brands, Drew Estates. This one is down here on the bottom level just because it fits. And we have another. Jeez. My humidor may be too dry. We have another cracked cigar, and this one's cracked right on the foot. Unfortunate. I know I just rearranged this whole thing, and maybe some of them got damaged in handling, but this one's really got some damage. Holy smokes. Careful with your cigars. We're cracked there. Cracked up here. This one is probably going to be nearly unsmokable. That sucks. So that might not be so good. And those bad boys are about 14 or 15 bucks here in Canada. So not good news on that one being cracked. So 2 cracked cigars. I might have dropped them or something too. But I guess that means those are the ones I got to smoke next. To make sure I can make sure the cracks don't become any worse. Get this back in. Actually, we'll just leave it right out of the wrapper because let the aromas get into the humidor. All right, so that's apparently my cracked shelf in the humidor. Now we're on to the top shelf, which is actually going to be my top shelf stuff. We have the Factory Smokes again, Maduro and Robusto. Underneath those are also just another Maduro and another Robusto. We have Liga Privada T52. This is the first really nice cigar that I ever had. A friend of mine had got it for me for my birthday, and I had smoked it right on the heels of smoking a Cohiba Bahique that my former father-in-law gave me. And the Bahique at the time was selling for about 80 bucks in Canada. And that cigar was selling for about 32. And I found it better than the Bahique. But it's not a slight on Cohiba, although I do kind of feel like you're paying primarily for brand with Cohiba. But I'm also just not a huge Cuban fan. Pretty much everything you've seen in here, except for those 2 Franciscas and a little pack of Cohibas, that's the only Cuban I have. Everything else is Nicaraguan, because my preference is Nicaraguan tobacco. We are on the top shelf. So we showed you Factory Smokes Maduro, and we have some fun little guys here. These are the Rocky Patel Juniors. They're pretty much like a petite Corona size. I found when I smoked the 92s of these, almost every time I got a little bit of the cigar sickness. This one is the 2003. No cigar sickness off those ever for me. And then down here we have the 1990 in the little mini pack. Let me make an adjustment here with the camera. So we can see the top shelf. There's that Boveda pack again. As you see, I got a Boveda on like every layer. There we go, 92. Or the 1990 rather. in the same size. Never had that cigar in that size, so looking forward to giving that a go. As we creep over, we have Rocky Patel Royale. I have no idea the story or whatever on this cigar, but I've never had it before, and I got a feeling I'm going to enjoy it. And as you can see, it's old stock again because it doesn't have the stupid label, right? So now this was ordered online, and the online dealer tends to not put those stupid labels on if they can get away with it. But that's that. And over here, we have a cigar that I have smoked on the channel before. I have a review, and I beat the all living hell out of it because I was like cutting wood or something while smoking it. This is the Rocky Patel Winter Collection. It's a very nice cigar. Pretty expensive. I think they're 30 or 40 bucks around here. Again, this is an online purchase. So we have the nicer label. We can see the Rocky Patel branding. And hidden way over here in the far corners of my humidor, I have a single Rocky Patel 1992. These bad boys were the favorite before that barber shop or barber pole from the tobacconist. Again, this one is old stock, so it has the proper label on, and it didn't have to be regulated by overbearing government institutions. Yeah, we'll say it like that to be polite. And that's basically a rundown of my whole humidor. That's kind of it. That's my little humidor tour. It's probably been a lot longer than I expected it to be, but that's how these videos go sometimes. Sometimes you think you're going to be recording for 5 minutes and you're 20 minutes in. Now, if you like this kind of content, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you didn't like it and it bored you all to hell, that's okay. You can still do me one favor, and that is take it easy. Cheers.